The Raptors defend their home court with a great win over the Phoenix Suns, 113-104. Live from Real Sports, this is Raptors Tonight. I'm Randy Urban, joined by Jack Armstrong, Leo Rautins, and Paul Jones. Jack, that Koloko three, such a great moment, and they needed it.
Well, it was clutch, and Gary Trent, who had a great night tonight, Randy, made the right basketball play. Now look, Christian Koloko, that's his first made NBA three. Nonetheless, it was the right play, and it was the right shot to take in that moment, and he shot it with confidence.
Yeah.
Huge play.
Yeah.
And you know what? The basketball gods were smiling too, because I thought the Raptors earned this win tonight. And when you work so hard, sometimes the breaks start coming your way because you've really worked your tail off to get them.
We had Koloko on the radio for postgame. As we started talking to him about the shot, you could see the smile growing on his face, and he talked about working on them. And to Jack's point, I thought Gary Trent, you know, I always say the ball has energy. Gary Trent made the right pass, and some people will say, well, you got a 7-footer out in the corner shooting threes. Hey, the way the game is played now, that's the shot that you're looking for. And I thought he did a really nice job with it. And he impacted the game some other ways too. Offensive rebounding, protecting the rim. He'd been in a bit of a valley, Koloko, and I thought
good matchups in this game for him.
Yes, he came out of it tonight. Yeah, good matchup, Leo. You're right.
Don't act like you've been there before when it's your first one, right?
All right. Jack Donahue, when he coached Canada, had some great rules. He goes, act like you've seen it all before.
Yeah.
So if you hit the game winner or a big shot like that, you don't know expression. Just hey, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And same thing. You always said, if a guy's locking you up and you're 1 for 12, last thing you want to do is make him think he's got anything to do with it. He's just like just having a bad day. That's it.
After the Grizzlies game, Nick Nurse was candid with the lack of effort by his team, and he was open about that. How do you assess their defense tonight?
Two things. Number one, last week I thought they had a great week. They took Philly to overtime. They beat the Knicks, 8-game winning streak. They beat the Cavs, 6-game winning streak on the road.
Yeah.
They had a great week. I haven't been around the team since last Friday.
No, we
so I
missed
come
you.
back today, it was like gloom and doom. I'm like, what happened? You lose 2 games? Now, they didn't play well, but nonetheless, it's not the end of the world. I thought tonight they had that sense of urgency. I think they needed to be challenged. They were challenged, and they, more importantly, accepted the challenge and played at an incredibly high level. So, response, and it was delivered. I thought it was a great win tonight, and the crowd tonight was awesome.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why they were awesome, they fed off the fact that they looked out there tonight, and they saw a really scrappy Raptor team.
There was a compete level tonight. Forced more turnovers than they have all season, and it was the most Phoenix had committed all season. And we got a taste of, I think, what we saw in this team last year. Yeah, okay, the field goal percentage wasn't great, but they were hustling, forcing turnovers, huge number of points off the turnovers.
Yeah.
Guys in the fight, Pascal, OG, Gary Trent went crazy in that third quarter. I mean, that's what we saw last year, like a different guy driving the bus. And, you still got good production out of Pascal and OG. So I thought it was more like the team that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, and so Leo, I'll ask you this then. Throughout the season, teams are constantly being reminded to bring that level of intensity. Why is it so difficult to do it every night?
Well, I think continuity is one. You've got guys in and out of the lineup, right? Then you got guys playing banged up, guys. Like Nick said it before, the ball's not dropping. It shakes your defense up a little bit, your confidence, right? So there's a lot of factors, but here's the reality, and we've talked about this before, right? If you're the Toronto Raptors and you don't play this way, you don't win.
Yeah.
So sometimes you really got to understand how you were built, what you were built to do, and how you have to play. Because if you don't play that way, you're going to regret it. It's going to be a long season.
Yeah.
And when you got all these, everybody talked about all the hullabaloo at the beginning of the season, all the same size guys, this and that. Same size guys are supposed to be aggressive, switch everything, not passively, aggressively, trap aggressively. That's the way you got to play. So this year we've seen it. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
They win games. When you don't,
I thought they did a good job on DeAndre Ayton tonight. They've been eaten up by a couple of bigs recently. Zubats and Steven Adams looked like he was a a college guy playing with grade school kids at times. He was just so big and strong. And in knowing that, it was interesting to hear Monty Williams say before the game, they asked, are you going to take advantage of that, go at that? He said, well, when you try to do something outside of your character, it throws your rhythm off. So that being said, I still thought the Raptors did a good job on DeAndre Ayton. He had like 2 field goals at one point.
Can I say, that's one of my pet peeves right there. You got a big guy like Ayton. Is it out of your character to drop it in there a few extra times?
In today's NBA, Leo, unfortunately it is, right?
But I mean, there was a bunch of times he had his man on his back.
Yeah.
And nobody looked at him.
And you could see how frustrated
Yeah,
he
he
was.
was frustrated.
He was like, his body language was like, oh, come on, give me the ball.
Exactly. And it's like, you can shoot all the threes you want, but just drop it in there. Drop it in there. So when you say it's going to take your team out of who you are, then I don't buy it.
Although Phoenix, I've watched them play a lot this year. And they do a good job, as their radio guy Tim Kempton said, and listening to them a lot, they do a good job scoring at all 3 levels. The low post with Ayton, the mid-range with people like Booker, Chris Paul, and then Bridges, and shooting it from 3.
Yeah.
They do all of that. And tonight, I thought the Raptors limited their inside stuff, like overtly anyway, by getting it down to Ayton and stuff. They didn't get much of that tonight.
Well, I would say this, though. It was a little harder to get it to Ayton tonight because there was so much pressure on the ball.
Yes.
And as we know, you become a better post defender when there's pressure out front on the ball. It's like being a better cornerback or better safety when there's a pass rush.
Right.
And tonight, I thought, to your point about not being able to score in the paint, the Raptors were so relentless. And like Scotty Barnes, I haven't seen him play this way at all.
He picked up Chris Paul
He was
full court.
all over the place defensively.
Trent Jr.'s hands were all over the place.
Great.
As good as he played on offense.
Great.
But to your point, if the Raptors are doing all that, you drop it inside, you kick it back out. You're going to get something easy.
Yeah.
You don't look inside. You just keep moving on perimeter. Everything's going to be tougher to get, right?
When
Call
you
me
look
crazy.
But you asked the question before
it's
of
old
Leo.
school basketball.
It's really hard to do. I mean, to play this way 82 nights, because it's a long season and you're going to have lulls. So obviously, when you have more weapons offensively, you're able to play that level of intensity in big moments. But when you got to, they had to play that way all night tonight to win. And that's hard to do. So that's when you need a Scotty Barnes and a Precious Achiuwa and an Otto Porter back, because then you can play that way in spurts.
Nick talked about it after the Grizzlies game. He said, and Jack, Leo, and I have talked about this all the time, especially when you play a team like Golden State or Atlanta, these teams that like to run up and down and score. Your offense has to keep you in games. And it has to keep you in games by scoring. And when you score, you can set your defense. If you're missing shots and they're getting runouts, it's not a turnover, but it's like a turnover. Because your defensive balance is bad. You've got a 3-on-1 or a 4-on-2 or a broken floor coming back. Guys can't match up. And you're giving up either an easy shot or a rebound on that easy shot. So tonight, with the scoring and the turnovers, they were able to, even though Phoenix shot a great percent, they were in the game because of those things.
All right, we got an audience question. Come on up, bud. Bring it in. Bring it in for the real thing. Get in here. Hey,
Burger?
here. Have that.
Jonesy?
What's your name, bud?
You doing all right?
Mike. What's
going
up,
on?
man?
How we doing?
Good?
Good.
Leo, Paul,
All right, man.
Jack.
Jonesy's
How are you, man?
grabbing a burger right now.
Yeah.
He's hungry, Jonesy.
Got to be careful where you stick your hands here. You could get hurt.
Yeah.
Particularly with Jonesy.
What's your question?
Question is, the Raptors played well tonight, but my question is, why is it so difficult to maintain a high level intensity to win games consistently?
Well, we were just chatting about it. I just think it's incredibly hard over the course of 82 games to have to play the way they play to be successful. So when you're down in numbers offensively, the amount of minutes you have to play that way increases. And tonight, to win, they almost had to play that way the entire night.
Yeah.
So obviously, to have a healthy Fred VanVleet and Precious Achiuwa, your margin of error increases. When your margin of error is really small, you need to be incredibly scrappy. And tonight, I think based upon what happened the last 2 games, I think they got the message like, hey, man, we got very little margin of error. In order for us to win, we got to play this way, and they did.
Jonesy, anything?
Concur with what Jack said. It's tough,
But you got it. If you want to be a good team, you have to do that, right?
And that's what we saw from them last year. And I think there's a psychological element to it too. Like last night, Memphis came out and punched them in the face.
Absolutely.
And they were down 13-4 in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, that was as much mental as it was physical.
Totally,
the way they
Randy.
played.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like, hey, you're talking to a sports psychology major here, and it's in your head. And when you start to, it shouldn't be like this, but you start to see the ball go through the bucket, it makes a difference on your defense. You dig, hey, the guy who scores the basket's always the first one back on defense, directing traffic and in the home run trot, and you get into the ball game. And I thought tonight they scored early. They won the first quarter. They put up 30-plus points. As a matter of fact, they won 3 of the 4 quarters in the game.
They won the third quarter, which they've really struggled
The
with.
second and third quarters have been big problems
Yeah.
for them, and they had the requisite intensity tonight.
Hey, so when you were talking trash at Oakland, was that sports psychology?
No, that was street psychology. Blacktop psychology. Hey, you were talking at St. Mike's, a good Catholic schoolboy. I didn't know you could use words like that.
Well, I was just going to, the spirits, your spirits come out. All right. You know?
Thanks, Mike.
All right, thank
Appreciate
you
it,
very
man.
much.
Nice
Take
to
care.
meet you,
All
man.
right, take
Thanks
care.
very much.
Take care.
Good job.
All right, thanks.
We talked about Gary Trent. You know, he got into the starting lineup and really ran with it, Jack.
Well, he's played really well, Randy. The last few games off the bench, I think he's taken to playing off the bench. I think he recognized the need to get off to a good start tonight.
Right.
They needed more scoring and creativity tonight. I thought he did a great job playing off the ball, with the ball. I thought the ball moved in big moments. Early in the game in particular, the ball was popping around. I thought they played really well. And I thought he showed what, and he did it efficiently tonight, which was big.
So when he throws that dunk down and gives a little stare down, gets teed up for that, should that be a technical? If you dunk on someone, you should be able to look at them.
Here's my line, Randy. You cannot legislate emotion out of the game.
No.
If that was in the schoolyard, he would have said, I got you.
gotta look
You
at
thought you
someone.
were going to get me, I put it on you.
Yeah.
Just let him play.
Yeah.
Well, here's the tough part. There's so much inconsistency with what you judge as, hey, half the time the guys dunk, they stare at somebody. So why is this one any different, right? So it's there's too much inconsistency. Like Sarah Jones said, this is an emotional game. Fans are screaming, everybody's playing. He didn't say anything, he just looked at him. Okay, so what? He didn't point at him.
All he said was, I got you.
Yeah.
Like you thought you were going to block that, but I got you.
Yeah, he didn't get in his face. He just stared at him. I'm like, if I dunked on you,
You're
Jack, I'd
used to
probably
that.
stare
I mean,
at
you're
you.
used to that. You're used to getting
On the
dunked
other
on,
end, yeah,
guys
yeah.
staring at
Well,
you.
yeah.
So I understand your empathy with this
I
situation.
didn't get upset.
Here's the thing. They actually gave Nick Nurse a technical
Yeah.
for getting out onto the floor until they realized it was a timeout.
And then Josh Tiven said the funniest thing. He turned to Matt and I. He says, I'm going to absolve Nick Nurse of that technical foul. I said, wait a minute. This is like a papal dispensation here. This is like coming from above. He's absolving Nick Nurse. I thought that was a really great usage
So I
of
told you, it's spiritual.
it's very spiritual.
Anybody have any other notable performances on the Raptors side?
Well, I thought OG Anunoby, when he played, was excellent.
Yeah.
And, think about it, when he came back in a game, he left the game, they were up 6. He came back in the game, they were up 1. They were holding on for dear life. Things really settled down defensively when he came back in.
Anybody for you guys?
I would say OG.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because he really took it on himself after that loss against Memphis. He was open with, that's on me. And to see him respond like that, that is showing the maturation of a young player.
I thought quietly Scotty did a good job on Chris Paul too. Picked him up, made him work.
He brought energy.
Yeah, he brought some energy. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Doughton, I think his brief play was outstanding.
Yes.
Come in the game.
Jeff Doughton, that was really
Yeah.
For
Randy,
his,
people are handing you notes.
Well, this is a question.
Wait, hold
from
on a sec, hold on.
Somebody
Hold on.
watching.
Randy.
Like, look at all the people we have here. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's like
we
a
got a lot of-
university
yeah, but I
class.
gotta tell
Like
you what, this is the
1,
notes-
2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 people to keep
Hold
us
on.
on
What's
the
the
air.
note they sent
Despite what
Randy?
Randy's going to read, this is what the note says. Hey, Randy, I think you're cute. I'm right by the back door with my girlfriends. I'll see you later. Where are we going?
Well,
And what it really
great question.
says is,
Actually, it says from Jason Francis, who's watching live,
what's up, Jason?
should Scotty Barnes be the primary ball handler when FVV is out?
No. I would say I'd say Pascal Siakam's your.
It's by committee.
Yeah, it's
By
by
committee.
committee, but I would not like say
Least pressure
Yeah.
handles the ball.
I would not say any
the
one
ball.
person.
Move the ball. Nick's philosophy.
Yeah,
Right.
I would not
Pascal
put that
in the first
on
half?
him.
Huh?
Right.
See Pascal in the first half?
Yeah.
Scotty got it one time and held on. Let's go, get that ball moving. He was adamant about that ball
Yeah.
going side to side.
Yeah.
Nick's philosophy in offense, right? Move the ball, play on the catch, 0.5 seconds to make a decision. When you catch it, drive it, pass it, shoot it, don't hold it. That's
Pretty simple stuff.
it is. Drive it, shoot.
What did you think of the Champagne waving?
What's that?
The Champagne getting waved?
You know what? He was banged up a lot. I obviously, as we move along here, things start to happen with your roster, and you got to start making difficult decisions. His contract was up to be guaranteed.
Think of needs too. Does he fill a need?
Yeah, and you have to guarantee a contract. I think they have to make decisions that sometimes are difficult. I think we all love Justin.
Yeah, great.
He
kid.
was banged up, and the bottom line is, are you going to guarantee a contract like that? You got to maintain flexibility.
Great, a great kid, Jack, as you said. Like, love him. Like, Randy, we got to know him a little bit through summer league.
Yeah.
Terrific kid. Like, terrific kid. But
And look,
I
at,
also
look at Wainwright with Phoenix. He's a terrific kid. He was with the Raptors last year.
and it's funny
like
because
him.
last year's summer league.
He's like PJ
Randy,
Tucker.
Yeah, he
reminds
is.
me of
You
PJ
made that
Tucker.
point during the game.
Last year's summer league, Patrick Mutombo told us he thought Ish was going to make the Raptor team, and he ended up being the last cut.
And
right?
who's an assistant with the Phoenix Suns?
Patrick Mutombo, right? and with the Justin move, I also think there might be something. You got that flexibility for a trade, like a 2-for-1, a roster spot to take back two people, or especially we know the trades are in the NBA. Somebody wants to get rid of a bad contract, but he's giving you something good. You take it, then you get rid of that one yourself.
Okay, let's move on to the important part of the show. You were honored for 25 years of broadcasting.
I survived.
Today. Can I get a little applause?
Cheers.
Anybody? No? All right, I'll give you applause.
Cheers. Well, these guys have gone 28 years, so I've been very lucky. to
Here's
work
an
with
interesting point,
Leo and
Jacko.
Jonesy.
Interesting point on that. So, I've been here a little longer, but from your, there's a lot of fogginess from your 25 on with me. I don't know if it's hanging out with you, late night. There's some fogginess in the last
Time out.
25 years.
Time
I
out.
don't remember much.
Time out.
The first 3 years I remember really
No,
clearly.
time out. That is a pure, unadulterated, blatant lie.
Oh.
He hung out with John Saunders the first 3 years. And my first 3
5
years. My first
They
5
had a
years
good time.
They're foggy with him and John Saunders. And I'm not talking about foggy as in landing in San Francisco at 2 a.m. and let's go out, because it's only 11 here.
Yeah.
Okay, between John and you, I was having a foggy career.
All right.
Yeah.
Very foggy.
Well, how surprised were you about the tribute?
I had no idea. Honestly, today I got a text from our producer, Dave Leader, and he said, Nick wants to meet with you and Matt before the game. And I'm like, as Jonesy and Leo, they've been here through
My catch
8
call
coaches,
is
9 coaches. They've had 9
When
coaches.
the coach wants
This
to
is
talk.
they've been through 9 coaches. I've been through 7. This is my 7th head coach. I've never been asked by anybody to meet before a game.
Jack, you're a head coach. It's not a good thing when the head coach
Yes,
gets something
I
in
had-
the office.
I had no idea what was coming, so I walked in there going, I haven't been on the air in 8 days. I haven't said anything
25-year
stupid.
anniversary.
I say
This
stupid
is
stuff to my wife.
box
all the time.
score.
But here it is. I was shocked. I didn't know what was happening.
That's what it looks like first.
Just when you saw the video and you see all the different, antics and iterations of Jack Armstrong, can you take me back to remember the moment of the time where you said, okay, this is this work is for me?
After my first year with the Raptors, and again, I was with Leo and Jonesy, and my first few years, I really thought I was going to go back and coach. I only did this because it was going to keep me afloat for a year or two and go back to coaching. And a lot of my friends said to me, why would you do that? You actually have a smile on your face and enjoy it. And I think all of us have a great time. We love basketball, but
Coaching is stressful.
It's very hard.
Like it is, it's like being a teacher. You are constantly on. You are thinking about ways to improve your team. You are managing people. You are managing situations. It's just a constant grind. And I mean, these guys know, we've all coached. And you step away from that and you apply that knowledge in a different
This is more fun.
sense.
This
It's
is
fun.
more fun.
Jack's undefeated right now.
Yeah, my last few years in coaching, I was a miserable person. And I remember Leo his last few years with Team Canada. Leo busted his ass to try to help Canada basketball, and it's really hard. He put a lot of work in.
He turned the program around.
Totally
I'll say that now as a board member.
He totally did, and people forget that because a lot of times you're kind of like the expansion coach, and everyone forgets what you did. It's really hard, and I just think this job it's a lot more fun. We love basketball. We love hanging out, talking ball. But I mean, the bottom line for me is, I love people.
Yeah.
I love the relationships and the fun.
The funniest reaction we get when we go out places, people go, "You guys like each other, right? You guys are all hanging out, laughing like they're shocked that we actually hang out and have a good time."
I remember spending
me with you guys.
Well, that's questionable. But I've had so many good times with you guys.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's not a job, it's fun.
And the Jack Armstrong that I remember as the youngest NCAA coach at one point, we used to get in the car and drive here from Toronto to Niagara to watch Jack's teams play. I remember the one year, it's the answer. I'm going to give it away now. So if you people are paying attention, you can win something from me at some point. In 1985, St. John's went to the Final Four. They lost to Georgetown. They lost 3 games that year. 2 to Georgetown, 1 to Niagara. They were 31-3, and we remember watching Jack's teams, and like I know how hard it is, and I say that unabashedly about Leo as a board member now with Canada Basketball. He helped turn the program around.
No doubt.
It's my Freedom 55 moment. If in high school you would have told me, don't worry, when you get to your 50s and 60s, you and Leo are going to be like this, I would have said, no chance. But here we are, as Jack said, we love the game, we want to be around it, we have knowledge, and...
Well, last question then. What do you think was the most important advice you received when you were starting out?
In coaching or
in broadcasting?
Wow.
That's a big question.
Be yourself. Just be yourself, and don't try to be like anybody else. And as these guys know, because they're great at what they do, our job is to tell people why and how, and always remember that: why and how, and have fun. Be yourself. And I think all of us have tried to do that job.
Definitely guilty of having fun.
Well, we have fun, and I think our job is to tell you why and how.
Yeah. Do we have dessert? Do we have something for Jack? Is it coming? All right, it's coming.
Randall, it's not good. The producer has his head down.
He's shaking it. Why is it? Why every time you talk to him, he's shaking his head?
The producer's not happy, and the fact that the producer's your brother, he's going to kick your backside too.
No, he's actually running a dirty boat.
Okay, we're going to go to overtime real quick while we wait for the dessert.
Do I get a shot? Do I get a touch?
You get... Luka Doncic, we didn't talk about that this game, or last game, which I wanted to. 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. Is that the greatest game
I'm not getting into that.
ever seen?
Nor should you.
Yeah, there's so many great
players.
There's so many great players.
No, but individual performance.
I got it. But there's so many great games and great players that, again, statistically, this game is altered now.
Yeah.
You're going to have higher numbers,
Yes.
right? So, was it a great game? It was a great game. I watched it. It was a great game. But here's what Joe mean us. So next day, I'm picking up. I look at you look at Twitter, Instagram, going, is this the greatest of all time? Is this the best? Come on, the guy had a great game. After everything that happens, do we got to go to is this the best of all time ever?
Hey man, we
Enjoy it.
I like
Enjoy it.
We sat courtside and watched Kobe hit 81.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting. You look at what he did. He had with 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. I mean, he almost impacted every single play on the court. And he did it against a guy who's been one of the best defensive coaches in the NBA in the last 2 decades, in Tom Thibodeau. So there's a lot there that you can, but honestly.
Yeah, but it was the Knicks.
Yeah.
Wilt scored 100. Go down the list.
Like I haven't seen Jerry, like I saw Jerry West and Oscar Robertson at the end of their career. I saw Kareem in his prime. I saw Dr. J in his prime. But there's so many great players. But to me, Luka Doncic
He's special.
is special.
Yeah, he's special.
And I just choose to celebrate him. And I hate when we have to compare him to others. He's great. In any era, Luka Doncic would be great.
It's Randall. It's the recency bias in social media. Like, there's no footage of Wilt's 100-point game, and if Harvey Pollack was it that didn't give him the sign 100, nobody.
How do we know?
How do we know?
Like, don't you get tired? Like every time you do a show, like Bob Costas, Marv Albert, you get those don't you get tired of it?
Yeah, that's what happens. People are saying, why aren't you hosting
By the way,
show?
do you realize he mentioned both of the guys he mentioned are Syracuse graduates?
Syracuse grads, Hall of Famers.
Dick Stockton, Ted Koppel, just go down the list.
Leo
Mike
Rautins.
Tirico.
It's getting off the rails
Leo
here now.
Rautins.
I appreciate it, though. We're going to stop it there. Next game for the
Iron
Raptors.
Eagle, Leo Rautins.
Monday, January 2nd at the Indiana Pacers, 7 p.m. Eastern is the tip. Be sure to catch Raptors tonight on
Dessert you've
YouTube.
been talking about.
We're gonna
I
get
want
it after.
dessert.
He doesn't
We're gonna get it
have
after.
sugar. He has no juice.
Be sure to catch Raptors
There's
tonight
no
on
juice.
YouTube and
No
NBA TV
juice.
Canada.
No juice.
Happy New Year. Have a safe and happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah.